Should I start a podcast or a blog? Very good question. And you may be surprised at my answer. But hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to decide which is best for your customers and for your company. Let's get started. I'm Nick Nattarella with AdWise Creative. By the end of this video, you will have a really good place as to where you need to start for either your podcast or your blog for your business. And you'll learn my secret to blow the doors off your business podcast and blog. And it's not what you're thinking it's going to be, I guarantee it. So, podcast or blog? Blog or podcast? Well, there are advantages and disadvantages to both. Let's start with a blog. The blog has probably the most obvious SEO benefits. It's very easy to do SEO with a blog because that's really what SEO is based off of, the written word, the typed word. Anything from your title to the actual words you use in the blog article to the hidden descriptions that you put in the background of the pictures. All of those things actually can be added to your SEO efforts to make sure that your blog shows up and gets you the best response possible. Another great advantage of blog is you find it at your website. And the number one reason for your website is you're collecting names and addresses, right? It's to add to your subscriber list. It's to add to your email list so you can market directly to them. The most important thing, and I see this all the time, the most important function of your website is building your email list. And there are some websites out there, including my old one. I will be totally honest with you. My very first website had nothing to do with collecting email addresses. The gold is in your email list. And you've heard the story all the time. If you're building burn to the ground today, where would you start tomorrow? Hopefully with those 10,000 names that you've already got on a server stored somewhere else that did not burn down. Well, if you're not collecting email addresses, you need to revamp your homepage just a little bit and make sure you are collecting email addresses. And your blog is a really strong magnet to get people to your website to help you build that list. Your expense for a blog can be very minimal, if not close to zero. If you're the one who's in charge of writing it, I would imagine you probably already have all the knowledge you need to get started with your blog right now. There are probably a few tweaks you need to learn to hopefully make things a little more SEO friendly, a little finder friendly, people doing searches to find you easier. That's academic. You can learn those. You can train in those and add those to the next blog article just like that. But right now, you probably have what? A little bit of hosting that you might have to pay for your website every year, and that's about it. Blogs are very, very cost efficient when used properly and also generating you an email list. Something as simple as typing it up, posting it on the website, boom, you're done. You upload it and you are good to go. Now, I would also say, send out a little email reminder to your current subscribers that you do have a new article up and running, maybe something that catches their eye, maybe it's something that's important to their situation, and get more audiences, get more eyes on your blog post. And hopefully they will like it and send it out to other people that they know. Again, adding a call to action, something like that, send this to someone you know. Do you know somebody who needs to read this? Get it in their hands and get them to hopefully come back to your website and join your email list. But if they're not getting the information in the first place, they're definitely not going to be signing up. Now, some of the cons to a blog post. Sometimes it can come across as not being very personal. For example, you and I are sitting here talking, okay? We're in a video situation right here. This is actually a conversation, whether you realize it or not. After all, you're the one who typed in the question. This is just my answer. We're having a little bit of a dialogue right now, even though we have never met. Every once in a while, if you're not that proficient of a writer, or if you don't understand the power behind the written word, especially in a blog situation, maybe you've glossed over that personality part. I know a lot of people who will write a blog article, for example, that sound very technical, very jargony, very businesslike. It sounds like it came straight off their brochure. Well, the benefits of that is, yes, you can go back and reread it if something was confusing. Unlike audio or video, it's a little harder to rewind and check it out again. With a blog article, it's easy to back up, catch it again, hear it again in your mind, whatever it is, until you finally understand it. It's the nature of the written word. And also with a blog, you're limited to one method of delivery: reading. That's the only way that you can consume a blog article, is to stop what you're doing, shut down everything else in your world, and focus on what's on the screen in front of you. Read it. That's the only way to consume a blog. Now, this is a very superficial 30,000-foot view of this, but if there's something technical you want to go over, like the SEO side of it or something like that, just make a comment below, tell me what you're looking for, and I might be able to make another video for you just for that particular topic. And I'm sure everybody here could benefit from it too, so we'd love to hear from you. And now let's look at the podcast side, and then I'll tell you my big secret to skyrocketing both the blog and the podcast. Your podcasting pros. First of all, it's a great way to build a relationship with your listeners, with the people who are actually stopping by and listening, or in contrast to a blog, the people who have to sit down and read your blog posts. Imagine it this way. Close your eyes just for a second. This is basically a podcast now that you're just listening to me. Okay, you can open your eyes now. You're kind of picturing me, seeing what I'm doing. You've seen my hand gestures, you've seen my facial expressions. It's just like a radio show with the hosts in the morning or something like that. You picture them, accurately or inaccurately as it may be, but you can still see them. You still see them interacting in your mind's eye. And if they're really good at it, they're interacting with you, and you see yourself in that image, in that scene, at the breakfast table with them, or maybe in the afternoon show with them. But either way, you've pictured them in your mind. And believe it or not, podcasts are still a very blue ocean. You know what? You understand that one? The blue ocean versus red ocean? Red ocean means there's blood in the water and everybody's in there diving in. A blue ocean means there are only a few opportunities and it hasn't been overblown. For example, it might seem like everybody's talking about podcasts all the time, but right now, let's say in the blog world, there are over 600 million blogs worldwide, with an M. 600 million. In the podcast world, there's only 5 million. Now, if you had to stake the odds on your success, 1 in 5 million or 1 in 600 million, which are the odds you're going to pick, right? I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. Then when you start to niche down, the numbers start to decrease, but you're still in the blue versus red ocean situation. Podcasting has come across, yes, it's all the rage, it's getting a lot of press. Years ago, it was all about blogging. You had to write all the time. Now it's all about podcasts. But look at the numbers. You've got this versus this. I'm going to stick with this. The 5 million is definitely a place where you can plant a flag of expertise. And now, when it comes to getting started in podcasting, there is a little bit more of a startup cost than with blogging. Again, the blogging, pretty much whatever's hosting your website, and that's about it. You can add or detract to it anytime you want. In the podcast side, you can start with as little as $100 investment in equipment. You can go up to $3,200 for, say, a round-robin panel discussion of 4 and having 4 microphones and everything that you need to host 4 people. That could be done for about $3,200. Then there is your podcast hosting subscription. So whatever you were paying for the blog hosting, pay for it twice. You're paying for your website and you're paying for your podcast hosting. That's the best way to look at it. So you're paying $100 here, you'll pay another $100 over here, easily. That comes with a little added expense. So initial investment, free versus a little bit, free versus a lot, depending on where you wanted to go with it, but a totally different feel. So which one are you going to choose? So you have a decision to make: podcast or blog, blog or podcast. Well, so here's my little secret that may help tilt things in one way or the other. You ready? Whatever you end up doing, podcast or blog, I want you to deliver it, and I want you to record your delivery in video. What? Where did that come from? We're talking about blogs and podcasting. Where did video come from? I'll tell you. Number one, you do everything in video because from that point forward, it gives you anything and everything you could possibly need. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you're going to have to edit it anyway. The edited version, whether it be visual or audio, is probably going to be the same product. You're going to edit it down to the same thing. If I were to look at the two, I would actually, and this is my audio background, I would actually edit from the audio perspective, and that would give me my YouTube channel. Now all of a sudden, you've got the YouTube channel and your podcast handled right off the bat. So how do we get a blog? because there's so much software out there, video editing software, that will automatically transcribe the audio into text. Now, yes, that's really simple, but you are going to have to do some little tiny tweaking to make that spoken word a little bit more digestible in the printed word. It's not hard. You'll know it when you see it. It's very easy to recognize. You'll see how you need to massage a few things, maybe spell something the correct way, that kind of stuff. Little tiny corrections. At the most, a sentence needs to be rewritten. Every once in a while, you'll just have 1 or 2 words. But other than that, with one recording of what you were going to say or write anyway, you've got your YouTube channel, podcast, and blog. How about that? All of that boils down to tripling and 10xing your efforts over the one thing that you were going to do anyway. So my advice, if it's down to a podcast versus a blog, doesn't matter. Start in video and you can peel off whatever you want from there. Whatever you do, don't miss this huge opportunity because you're only 1 click away. It's a little red button on this program instead of that program. Good luck. If there's anything else you need to know, just shoot me a comment. I've got a little bonus for you to help you actually talk to your audience, whether it's on video or on podcast or in your blogs, quite frankly. It's called Engaging Your Audience, the 3 secrets to skyrocket your podcast success. Now, you can use this obviously for your YouTube channel as well. How you interact on camera, how you talk to your viewers, your listeners, and the people reading is going to make all the difference in the world in getting them to engage with you and talk to you and actually see you as a live interaction as opposed to a dry article. So click down below in the comments, there's a link for Engaging Your Audience. Click that and get your copy right now. I'm Nick Nattarella. Thank you for watching.